Hello, Algebra 2. Welcome to our first video. We're going to talk about polynomials today. We're going to talk about what the word polynomial means, the different subclassifications of polynomials, and a little bit about finding the degrees of them and what standard form of them is. And we're going to do a little addition. We're going to do more addition and subtraction on Thursday's video. So let's start with polynomial. It means many terms. Poly means many, nomial essentially means terms. Not perfectly literally, but that's the overall meaning. Okay, so here's an example of a polynomial. 10x to the 7th minus 9x squared plus 15x cubed plus 9. Okay, there are other types of polynomials. They're all still under the polynomial umbrella, but they are subclassified as monomials, which is just one term. Binomials, like 9a squared minus 15, that's two terms. Okay, so monomials 1, binomials 2, and then trinomial, I didn't finish writing it, is 7y squared minus 3y plus 4. Okay, so that's a trinomial because there are 1, 2, 3 terms. Okay? Again, all classified as polynomials. These are just subclassifications for different types of polynomials. So you can see any one of these when you hear the term polynomial. Okay? Degrees of polynomials. Well, first let's talk about standard form. That's when the terms are all in order of power. So here we have 10x to the 7th minus 9x squared plus 5x cubed plus 9. 7 is the highest power. So 10x to the 7th will be the first term. That's correct. But here we have these two, 9x squared and 15x cubed. The 3 obviously is a higher power than the 2, so these two terms should be swapped. So it should say 15x cubed minus 9x squared. And then plus 9, because that's our constant, and it has no power and no variable. So that's standard form. Okay, so standard form just means they're in order from greatest to least by power. Okay, so talking about the powers of the polynomials gets us into degrees of polynomials. The degree of this monomial 2x, well, there's just one x. So it has a divisible coefficient of 1. Okay, all variables by themselves have that invisible coefficient of 1, or a visible power of 1, sorry. Also the coefficient, but that's not what we're talking about. The powers. Here we have 9a squared minus 15. So the highest power is the a squared. So the degree of that polynomial would be 2. Okay, the degree of this polynomial up here, because 10x to the 7th is your highest power, so the degree of this whole polynomial would be 7. Okay, because that's the highest power. Super simple, that's as easy as it is. So on your homework, you're going to have to write the degree of each polynomial, and it's just that simple. Some of them are in standard form, some of them are not. You'll just look at the term with the highest power, and that will be the degree of the polynomial. Okay? I want to go over a few problems together so that you can do your assignment fairly easily. We're just going to go through a couple, and we're going to talk about remembering that each variable has an invisible power of 1 that you need to add when you're talking about degrees. So here is the first problem. I'm going to erase some of this so you guys can see. Okay, so here's our first problem. We are going to look at each term and see what the value of the power is because the highest power will be the degree for the whole polynomial. So 3x to the 4th, that's 4. 2xyz, so each variable has a power of 1. So that's 1, 2, 3. 5x squared, that's 2. 4 is 0 because there's no power, there's no variable. Okay, so this is already written in standard form for you, so it will be pretty easy to see that this is the highest term. Its power is 4, so the degree of the polynomial is 4. Okay, so it's pretty simple. Let's do one more. Let's do uv plus 4u. Okay, so u has 1 and b has 1, so that's 2. U just has 1. So the power, or the degree of this polynomial would be 2. Right? Pretty simple stuff. So on Thursday I'll go over adding and subtracting polynomials. Your homework, your assignment from here is going to be pretty simple. You're just going to answer a couple of questions and then identify the degree of 3 different polynomials, okay? So I'm going to stick it on the board with my magnet. Okay, and then I'll zoom in on it so you can see it. Okay, so it says, what does polynomial mean? We talked about that today. How do you know the degree of the polynomial? Write the degree of each polynomial. And then it says 3m to the 5th n squared. And number 4 is 6u squared plus u squared vw minus 2u cubed vw plus 4u cubed. And you'll notice that you can't combine any of those terms because none of them are the same. So you just look at each term to see what its power is, and the highest power is your degree of that polynomial. Okay, so you'll put those all on a piece of paper. You can rewind this and pause it and write down all the problems, and then you can either show me that paper on Zoom on Friday, or you can take a picture and send me an email. And if you complete the assignment from this video on Thursday's video, then I'll put your name in the drawing for the prize. Okay? If you have any other questions about what we went over today, email me. And if not, then I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Bye.